What is this, Lady Ada?
Hey, everybody, and welcome to Show and Tell. It's me, Lady Ada, with me, Mr. Lady Ada on camera control behind the mic. We've got a bunch of people from the Adafruit community and the larger Maker Hacker community coming by, and they're going to show us what they're working on. We're excited to see it. Come on by. We're here for another 20, 25 minutes, and then we're on to Ask Engineer.
Yeah, and a programming note, next week, Show and Tell is still on. Noam Pedro are going to be the host. Thank you in advance, Noam Pedro.
Thank you.
And during the day of Wednesday of next week, we're going to be doing a hack chat with Lady Ada, Jeff, and myself. So look for that 3 p.m. on Hackaday.io. We'll be talking about floppy. So it's like a version of Show and Tell on another site, and we'll be broadcasting on all of our normal social network places like YouTube as well. So let's kick it off with Scott.
Well, actually, let's go to Jepler first.
Oh, we're going to go to Jeff first?
Yes, we have to go to Jeff first.
Okay, this is good to know. Hey, Jeff, what you got going on?
Hi. So with this floppy disk stuff, I've been learning a lot about emulation. And the reason you're bringing me on first is I'm going to start this game loading. And because it is a real emulation, it is going to take about 4 minutes to actually boot up. So, yeah, come back to me like after another 1 or 2 people.
That's pretty cool that although it's basically on supercomputers compared to what it started off with, it still takes a certain amount of time to boot up.
Yeah, I mean, the emulator emulates, it has to emulate all of the details of the floppy drive and how it actually works. So inside it, it's keeping track of the rotations of the floppy drive and running the 6502 instructions.
So
and it's amazing software, and it's on the Internet Archive, and you can just use it. So that's cool.
All right. So we're starting now, and we're going to check back in. It's going to be like a cooking show.
Exactly,
looking forward to the souffle.
Okay. Put it in the oven for 4 minutes. Okay, let's go back to Scott.
Scott, what you got going on?
Hello. So if folks don't know, I've been working on adding BLE support to the ESP32 S3. It's the bigger, better version of the S2 that's coming soon. Espresso does have these neat modules here with the 2 USBs that are super handy. And what I've got here is I've got CircuitPython running on it over USB. And I've got a demo here where I'm doing 2 things. First, I'm doing some web requests, and then I'm doing a BLE scan. So I will just hit Control D, and it will get going. Skylab's my Wi-Fi.
You can do it.
So it does some stuff, and then these are all the advertisements that I got by doing a BLE scan. So this is the first step in the process where if this device wanted to initiate a connection to another device, scanning would be the first thing. But the other thing that's really cool is I did the broadcast net thing ages ago, and you had to use a Raspberry Pi to do that, shuffle advertisements from BLE into whatever web service you want. And potentially the S3 can do that now.
Yeah. This is
which
our
I'm
first
very excited about.
This is our first CircuitPython build that supports Wi-Fi and Bluetooth in one chip, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
So there's a pull request that I've got some stuff to fix during Ask an Engineer, but then it should be in hopefully shortly.
All right. Nice work.
All right. Thank you so much, Scott. And then will you be talking about this Friday on Deep Dive with Scott?
Yep. We'll talk about it this Friday. And then the other thing I should say is that this is the last week for CircuitPython 2022. So if you have thoughts about what you'd like to see CircuitPython do this year, please get those out. So that I can summarize them on my stream on Friday, and then I'll also do the final kind of summary blog post on Friday as well.
Yeah, check out the blog post that we currently have. There's a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, lots of cool stuff. And thank you to everybody who's already participated. If you do participate, please email CircuitPython2022@adafruit.com. That'll go to Phil and I, and we'll get it blogged up.
That's right.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Let's just go back to Jeff real fast. Jeff, how's your Commodore 64 going?
We're still on the loading screen,
okay,
so bear with us.
Okay. Well,
this is like a live launch or something like that.
We'll be back to you.
Oh, wait.
Oh, there you go.
What great time.
That's excellent timing. So let me figure out how to cut the audio here. And
why?
No, what are you
Keep
doing?
it.
all right, we'll listen to it.
Yeah. It makes you sound more dramatic.
You got a little.
I bet it does.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
Now I've lost the. There we go.
Okay.
Now I can see you again.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm super nostalgic about this game. So when we started the floppy project, I went on eBay and bought the real thing. This is the original retail packaging. They're like, we want to imagine we're musicians and making an album.
So cool. New album just dropped.
It's a video game. And
this is a new grime single that just came out.
This is a great great classic game for the Commodore 64. So what I've accomplished this week is these games were copy protected, and there's a format that you can read into that preserves the old copy protection called G64.
Did you copy that floppy?
And and so I learned a lot about the formats and started writing a format converter, and then realized that other people had already written all the pieces I needed, and I just had to put them together. And so what I got going today was the putting together of those pieces, and now I can play my game. Not only that, this is up on archive.org. I will drop the link in shortly.
So what's interesting is this is a copy protected Commodore 64 diskette that we ripped, and you don't have to crack it. It actually plays in an emulator as if it was
right,
like the original official game, which is nice because now it's like we're really getting the native format of the diskette.
This is the data. Yeah.
This is the data.
Yeah, a lot of what you'll find has been cracked, so the copy protection has been removed, and there are good things about that. Like it would have probably loaded in about 20 seconds instead of the minutes that it took. But in a way, this is kind of the most
You want the
real
full experience.
most real version of the thing.
You get a sandwich, you get ready, you're like, okay. So Jeff, here's the big question I'm going to ask you. If I were able to take this video and transmit it back in time to when you first played this 30-ish, 40 years ago, would young Jeff be happy about all the things that...
well, I mean, first of all, he'd be horrified that I got rid of his floppies.
Yeah.
That would be the big thing. But I had to go buy this again.
But you'd have to explain eBay and all that stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it would be a long discussion, but I don't know. I think young me would have imagined still playing these games.
Yeah.
Because I mean, how much were video games going to change? Really, we were at the pinnacle.
Yeah. What's neat is that you're able to do this and then share it with a whole new generation of people that maybe they never saw or heard about this game at all. Okay, cool. Make sure you take good photos of the album art and put that into the archive.org.
And the text in it is really interesting. It emerges that, well, it's made by 3 people, Ann Westfall, John Freeman, and Paul Ritchie III. And when you read through it, you find out, well, John and Paul kind of had an idea, and Ann wrote the thing. So, it's it's part of this history of how we've forgotten that, the whole gender thing in computers. So it was a good reminder to read it. And some of the language is maybe not the way we'd put it now, but yeah, I was reading that just before we came on. So that was real interesting.
Right on. Okay, well, thanks so much, Jeff. And then are you going to do a blog post so folks can check this out soon?
Yeah, I will drop the link to this, this archive.org, although I set it as a test item, so it'll be deleted after 30 days. We'll want to do something a little more permanent before we do a blog post up.
Right on. All right, thanks so much, Jeff.
All right,
Very cool project and more.
All right, thank you, Jeff.
All right, now, Pedro, what you got going on this week?
Hey, guys.
Hey, what's up, folks?
Oh, man, so many retro vibes.
Yes.
Yeah, so this week we got a super simple little case for the Feather TFT. So Noah made this really cool LCARS-inspired little graphic that's just pulling in the temperature, the battery status, and the the pressure
right?
from the BMP 280. So Brent had a really good idea of having like these little rails on the back of the case. So you could just keep stacking little stemma sensors back there. So you have access to the port and the little buttons on the front.
Do you want to show the other side? Because I think there's an overhead. It wasn't on. Do you want to show you were talking about the rails?
Oh my god. I
Sorry.
completely missed this.
No, it's cool. It's just like, because you're usually, there you go. I'm like used to that view. Oh, I like that LCARS view.
I'll edit this.
There we go.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. So
That's gorgeous.
Noah had speaking of retro, Noah had some like good vibes doing because he started as a graphic designer. So doing all the
I
way
was
up for
pushing
this.
pixels, so I did a nice bitmap for that. It's all done
That is
Python,
nice.
display IO. Yay. Thank you.
Yeah. So
Can
nice
you
little
add
spillway,
this?
and here's the case that we were talking about.
What's up?
Can you put
Can I
that
add
code on the repo? Because I think people are going to want it.
Yeah, I have a gist. I can drop that in the Discord,
Drop
but I'll
it
put it
in.
up on. Okay.
Yeah. So the other cool thing we were showing off on 3D Hangouts is last year we did like these little Lego studs for like the Feather, and Lamar wanted like some cool graphics showing off the temperatures, everything being shown off. You're like, oh crap, we did that last year.
Right, we did
And
an OLED display.
This entire
It's kind of the
thing
same
is
circuit, right?
this
You got
now.
the battery monitor, you got a microcontroller, you got your display, and you got your
Yeah.
stemma sensor.
so
There you
definitely
go.
wanted to show off
Technology
like
moves forward.
how
So I just
a
plug it
big
in.
deal this is that you're able to just combine everything together and make this tiny little package. And what
can
was
get a
last year,
watch.
this, right? Oh
cute.
yeah,
Oh, that would be
You
cool.
could totally do
little,
like a little
a
wearable.
little Pip Boy kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So 293 Hangouts happened earlier today. We go over all the CAD stuff, all that. We checked out like the filament that we used on it, that quantum everybody's been
It's like
posting about.
iridescent filament. Look at this. It's kind
That's
of
cool.
weird.
Super cool.
Uh,
So yeah, check it out. And Web posted, I think, earlier on the Discord,
yeah.
and we'll put it on the learn guide that we have out for
Yes,
this.
please do. I love
check
that
it
Yeah,
out.
I'll
Alcars
do it.
look.
Yeah, it looks so
Yeah.
cool.
We'll put
Gorgeous.
the font and the bitmap too.
Yeah.
Yeah, chat with Ann if you need someone to put it up on learning system, just because you have to have everything together. But I think it's
the
worth it
linking,
because
yeah.
that is like just so cool.
Yeah, it was
Focus.
kind of like last. We didn't get to film it because we're like, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And no,
like
but it's
this
fine. You
time.
just change the main image of the guide.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
We'll use this graphic anytime we get to show these.
Yeah, we'll do it
sensors off,
again.
so.
Don't worry. There's
Yeah.
there's
This
more.
is the first pass. Yeah.
Yep,
Great work,
and that's all we got.
Pedro.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks
All
so
right,
much.
folks.
And thank you for taking care of show and tell next week.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
we'll
problem.
see y'all next week.
Anytime.
All right. Next up, Brent. Brent, what you got going on this week?
Hi, I have some progress on Whippersnapper, which is Adafruit.io's no-code IoT platform. So previously, like this is what people generally see. If you go to add a component like a light sensor, an LED, or a reed switch or anything, there's a limited amount of them. And that's because this was all hard-coded into Adafruit.io, like through the backend. And people weren't able to modify these. And we wanted some level of community interaction and interfacing with Adafruit Whippersnapper. So this is what's going to come out pretty soon. There's no like ETA on this, but when you click new component, it loads a large amount of pin components, and it also loads I2C components. And previously we only had the HT20, but now we have the HT20, the AM2315, which is an HT20, the BMU680, and the DPS310. And I have a Funhouse over here plugged in, which has the HT20 temperature and humidity sensor and the DPS310 sensor already built into it. So to create a component, we just click the icon with the component. We can set its interval to return. And then the component's there, and these graphs will change over time. So if you want to make another sensor, like we want to attach this DPS310, and we didn't have something like Stemma QT on this board, which we don't because it's built in, but you can also attach a Stemma QT connector. You can just click through it, and there's no code and there's no soldering, and values will just roll straight into Adafruit.io. And then over time, you can graph values on feeds, and you can interface with them just like you would with anything in Adafruit.io. And then we have a new repository called Whippersnapper Components that's on the Adafruit GitHub. And we're not ready for user submissions yet, but if you have an idea for your favorite sensor in the Adafruit store to add to Whippersnapper that you want to use, like you want to use the Stemma soil sensor or something else, you can click here and submit a suggestion. And if you want to look at how we're submitting these, we have 2 open pull requests. One of them is to add an SCD30 component. And it's just like a bunch of JSON, and then an animation, which is a spinning animation, and another image. So this is what we're working on, and this will be out shortly.
Right on. And folks, don't forget to go to Adafruit Daily and sign up for the newsletter where you're going to get all of this and then some.
Yeah. So if you go to Adafruit Daily, click on Internet Things Monthly, that newsletter is going to go out next week.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Brent.
Nice work. This is very exciting.
Making it too easy for everybody.
Well, I really want this like magical moment where we're going to be able to get a Cutie Pie ESP32S2, and you plug in the SCD-CO2 sensor, and it just works. It just sends, just starts logging data. That's the dream, right?
It takes years and a ton of work to make something just work.
Yeah, and it'll
make
be
it so
free,
easy.
and it'll be like more sensors, and like any sensor you plug in, and you'll automatically detect it. It's going to be really cool.
Living the dream.
Living the dream.
JP.
Hey, next up, JP.
What's a 5-letter word for this project?
The 5-letter word for this project is beflurful.
Flurful.
So I don't want to spoil this for anyone, and I showed this last week on my show, but I wanted to show this off again. This is the Gherkin keyboard. It's a open source design for a very, very, very tiny 30 key keyboard. I have the KB2040 in here, and I'm running KMK, which is a keyboard management sort of framework that's working under CircuitPython. So one thing you can do with it, of course, is play your word games with a nice mechanical keyboard.
I like how you can't actually type a real word because it's terrifying. You're like, what if you guess it?
How is it connected? Is it connected to?
So I'm using the USB and the little camera connector kit thing.
Got it.
I have them kind of plugged together here so I can show them neatly. So this is not Bluetooth or anything like that. I'm not using batteries.
Lightning to USB.
Lightning USB, that's it. They call it the camera connector kit or something.
Yep.
But this is just USB, so I can plug it into the computer too, or anything that'll take the USB keyboard. This is also, since it's running KMK, I'll show you, if you're using this for the crossword, I've got the New York Times crossword app here. This is the mini, so you can see it a little better. Neat thing is that not only can you type in stuff, but you can use the layers of KMK, which is kind of like shift modifier. So if I hold C, that allows me to do things like tab, which is how you go from word to word to word, or I can use what are essentially virtual arrow keys to cruise around on here. You can even do freaky stuff that you can't normally do in the crossword app, such as type in numbers, or type in symbols. So there's actually, I think, 4 or 5 layers of stuff you can type on this by knowing these magical key combos, and then you can go in and customize those right in code.py. So it's very easy to.
I think it's funny that you designed this gherkin keyboard, and then like Wordle became popular, and we're like, this is actually perfect for this.
Wordle keyboard. I mean,
when do you not need a space bar?
This is all it can do, right? It's almost exactly it.
What are you saying?
I like the cursing one. I think there should be a
Loodle? Is that the one?
Yeah, I think there should be a crossword where it's like famous cartoon characters cursing, because it always has.
Oh, I see. Yeah. This looks like
rubble.
Tintin having a bad day or something like that.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, JP. And then you're going to be showing off some of this and more tomorrow.
Come on by tomorrow, and I'll give a hint. Tomorrow, this beauty is going to be involved. My Western Electric Model 500.
Is that how you're going to play Wordle next?
Maybe. Ooh, I like that.
You can place numberal. You have to guess a number.
Yeah, numberal.
All right. Thanks so much, JP. All right. Next up, we're going to go to Liz and Jay, then Andrew. Liz, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. What's going on?
So this is the Oscatone Scout synth, and I've hacked it so that it's sending MIDI out over UART to an RP2040, and then that's taking the MIDI over UART and sending it out via USB, which then doing a Raspberry Pi MIDI host to send it to Eurorack. So it's like a little mini keyboard.
Cute.
So, yeah.
It's adorable.
What?
It's adorable.
Yeah. So I'm hoping to maybe change up the knob so that it'll do some CC commands. But it was pretty cool getting it so that CircuitPython is taking in the UART and sending out the USB, because then that basically makes this into a USB MIDI controller.
That's cool. Nice. Yeah, and is it okay if I talk about the future guide that you're going to be working on with us?
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so one of the things that we've noticed is a lot of folks are just hearing about this MIDI thing, even though it's been around for a long time. But now there's low-cost hardware. You can build your own. There's all this open-source software. So Liz is going to do a guide. There's articles that I wish I had time to write. And like back in the day when I was at Make, I would do an article like this or something. But this one's going to be called MIDI for Makers, and it's for folks who just don't really know anything, or maybe they forgot because it's been a while, and a lot of things have changed in the last few decades. And so Liz is going to be working on an article called MIDI for Makers. So if you have any suggestions or questions or whatever, just remember this isn't for experts yet. It'll get everyone up to a good foundational level of knowledge, and then we'll keep layering more and more and more things, because there's a lot of cool hardware that's come out in the last 10 years for sure, and at least the last 10 months. So anyways, Liz is going to be working on that soon.
And one of my first ever like Arduino thing that I tried to do was a MIDI controller, and it was so hard, like trying to figure out from scratch how to do it. I had zero coding experience or anything, so I'm really excited to write this.
Yeah, I think musicians too, they need a way in to get into like, oh, I want to learn Python, but I don't have a reason for it. And like a lot of times you search for like learn Python, it's like data science and everything, like that's cool, and maybe you'll eventually do that. But a lot of folks, they just want to do something with the stuff they already have. So I think this will be a cool gateway drugs, so to speak. All right. Well, thanks, Liz.
Cool. Have a good one.
All right.
Thank
Then we're going
you.
to go to Jay, and then we're going to go to Andrew. Jay, what you got
Jay,
going
it's good to
on?
see
Hey.
you. Hey.
I have this little guy, which is a project I'm still working on. This is its 5th iteration. I've been trying to get it to work for a while now, and I finally got it to work last night to a decent level.
I saw this on your Instagram story, so I knew this was coming.
Whoa, is this like a turret bot? What is this?
Kind of, yeah. It's one of my next wearables. I've been trying to get it to a point where I can control this now with my phone for the first time. So I'm having more
That's
fun
cool.
with it than I usually do.
What are you using to control it with your phone?
I'm using an Arduino with a Bluetooth attachment to it, and then the
Cool.
LEDs being controlled by an Adafruit Feather 32U4. Was that
Cool.
right? 32U4?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks cute.
This is neat.
It looks-
So
it's
this is
looking
going
for
to
something.
potentially be shoulder mounted or J mounted.
It's going to be bag mounted. I'm literally designing a
Bag
bag to
mounted.
hold this one. That way, when I go to events and stuff, I can
Yeah.
have fun with it. I'm happy I got this to actually start working now, because now I can just focus on the artist part of it. So like currently on my printers, I have all these like extra little attachments and stuff to make it look pretty. Because right now it looks pretty plain, especially like right here in this area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to feel bad, little guy, but
No,
right here,
it's.
kind of naked.
Yeah.
I like the little blinking effect. How does it do that?
I should be asking you that. It's part of the Adafruit.
Yes.
It's part of the Adafruit.
No, it's just an effect. So it looked like the eye was like moving up and down, but I think it's just a reflection. Off
It looks
the-
cool. It's like a blinking rainbow.
Yeah, I
very-
like the
it
rainbow
looks
effect
curious.
the best currently. Oops.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Jane. Keep coming back and show the progress on it.
Sure.
It is robot
Done.
bedtime.
It's like a night.
Robot bedtime. All right. Hey, like the robot knew. It's like, hey, I did my thing.
It's
Yeah,
like, I'm
yeah.
done. I've got to go to bed.
All right. Well, take care, Jay.
Hi, bye,
You
Jay.
too.
All right, Andrew, play us out.
Hey, Andrew.
Hey,
What?
first time caller, long time watcher. I actually met you, Philip, probably about 15 years ago in Seattle when you guys were launching Make Magazine. And I remember that Western Electric phone, you had like a GSM circuit in there.
It was a rotary.
It's like a smartphone phone, right?
It was a rotary cell phone, and that's when I
Yeah.
was first writing about SparkFun.
That was
And
so
they had
cool.
a kit. Yeah, that was neat. Hey, good to see you.
Yeah,
What you been
yeah.
up-
So
what
this
you
is
been up to?
it's my first PCB I've successfully designed. It's a 2-layer board, sort of my take on a macro keyboard. I have some custom designed buttons here that I got printed out of nylon. So those work and light up. Everything
Ooh.
else lights up as well. It's still like in the prototype stage. There's actually supposed to be an e-ink display that goes right here, but as you can see, it's kind of broken off. So
No. What's cool is you can't tell because it still works.
yeah, exactly. I have more. I think there's a hardware issue though with my design. These are like the less expensive, like $5 pervasive display ones that have the chip on glass. And so I had to write a driver for it, but I actually was able to, based off of the Adafruit e-paper display CircuitPython class. So I just extended
Yeah.
that class and wrote it, and that was kind of a fun learning experience. And
Yeah, they're definitely interesting. They're one of those things that they don't work at all until they work.
exactly.
It's like you're like nothing is happening. At least with TFTs, you can usually get like something on the display.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, it's inverted or it's like shifted. But
Yeah.
It's like nothing, and then like boom, data.
I ended up buying the development kit just so I could make sure my firmware works. So I know my firmware works for it. So that's good.
Right.
So I'm pretty sure it's a hardware issue now because I was going into that integration space, that special
Yeah.
space where is it hardware? Is it software? Is it
Is it
both?
a compiler? Who knows?
Yeah. So it's kind of fun, just sort of a demo thing, and works on the CircuitPython and the Raspberry Pico. So yeah, it's been a fun thing.
This is great.
That's great. Nice work.
If you want us to include it in the newsletter or blog about it or whatever, just drop me a note, pt@adafruit.com, and I'll send it over to Ann and more. Thanks for showing this off. This is why we do what we do.
Yeah, this has been fun. Thanks, guys.
Good work.
All right.
Thank you.
See you in another 15 years.
No.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
No,
coming
come
by.
on.
And do you still have the copy of Make? Because I think we had. Was it at the launch when we had copies, or was it when we announced?
No, I think I actually still have the one that you brought because I was actually going back and looking at my blog post because I wrote about it. And it was like the third episode. It was a third one you'd come out with, and
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I still have it.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sticking around and continuing to make things. And now you're making things and sharing. So
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
mission accomplished. All right. Thank you, Andrew. All right, everybody, that is our show for tonight. Thanks for making this the best 25 minutes of our day today. I mean, the rest of the day was pretty good, but this is great. We'll see everybody next week. Next week, we're going to be part of the audience because John Pedro hosting, and we're going to do Ask an Engineer in just about 5 minutes or so. All right.
See everybody.
See you later.